Hi, hope you guys are well. Today I want to make a video about how to actually give Claude access to certain tools, right? A lot of the time we'll just use Claude as a chatbot, but now because of the way the development has been of Claude, we can actually give it access to certain tools so it can do more than just talk to you. So for example, the reason I thought about this was because I was like dealing with this huge storage issue with my laptop. And it said documents was about 40 GB of the storage on my PC, and I was wondering what was going on. So I asked Claude, what is the what are the documents, like what is in my documents folder? And then it told me that it can't access my documents folder. And it said that this is exactly the gap the tool setup we were discussing would fill. So I started talking to it about how to get tools in. And then it gave me this entire process and we went through it. And by the end, I said create a file called hello.md. And now in my documents file, if I go here, it made a Claude workspace folder and made a hello.md file, right? So I've given it access to my internal documents folder. So I can say what is in my documents folder. I'm giving it access to my documents folder on my laptop by using an MCP. So I'll say always allow. And so you can see it sees that it just sees the hello.md that we created. Now I'm going to show you how to actually create your own version of this, and you can be able to give it access to your downloads or your desktop or your documents folder and whatnot. So currently I've given it only access to the Claude workspace, but I'm going to show you how we give it access to, let's say, for example, your downloads folder. You want to give it access to that. I'm going to show you how you do it right now. So here's the first thing that we're going to do. You need to be on the Claude desktop app and then go to the settings here, click on settings, go to developer, and you're going to see the MCP servers that I currently have running. So I have this one called file system, and I have this one called ideas. These are the ones that I currently have running. You probably won't have any running. Okay, now click on edit config, which is going to open up this configuration folder here, and it's going to highlight the desktop configuration JSON. Now, if you open this, you can open it with anti-gravity or any other IDE you want, or you can also, for example, like open it in text edit. And here you'll see I have two MCP servers. I have ideas and file system. And you might only have preferences. You probably won't have any of these MCP servers. And I'm going to show you how you actually get the MCP servers in there. So open it however you want to open it with. I'm gonna, for example, open it with anti-gravity. Okay, so I have it here with I have it open with anti-gravity here. And if you don't have any of these, okay, then it's very likely that your entire Claude configuration file is just going to look like that. Okay, and that's okay, don't worry, because you won't even have to write any code in this, nothing at all. Claude's gonna just do everything for you. Okay, so now you have the configuration file open, and here you have your Claude. So, for example, let's open a new chat, and I'm gonna say, can you write the Python script for an MCP server to connect you to my downloads directory, and then write the JSON for me to paste into your config file. All right, that's all I'm going to do is send it off. Now I'm using Sonnet 4.6. It doesn't really matter. You can use Opus, you could use Opus 4.5 or Opus 4.6. You could use Sonnet 4.5, Sonnet 4.6. It doesn't really matter. It's not that hard for Claude to do, and it does it very, very quickly. So what you would put here is what you actually want Claude to be able to do. Maybe you wanted to create files for you, or organize your files for you, or rename your files for you, or you wanted to be able to pull information from a PDF and turn it into a CSV and turn the CSV into a markdown. Maybe you want to be able to have it auto op open things when it opens, or you want it to create new files every time you bring in a new lead. Maybe every time you get an email about a lead, you want it to create a new file on your desktop for that lead, whatever it is, right? You pretty much want to describe what it is that you want to do. I've kept mine very broad, and I said, I want to give you access to my downloads directory. Once it has that, though, it can write and read, meaning it can create files and it can read files and it can understand files. And I'm not limiting it to only what it can do. So you can see here, the MCP server gives me 4 tools over your downloads folder. Okay? And it's given us the downloads list files, the folders, and all of those. It can do read and it can do search files and a bunch of other stuff. All right, so we have these two things here. Now we have the Claude desktop config snippet, which as you can see is the MCP server. So here's all you need to do. You need to press copy here, all right? Come here, and then underneath this yellow one, press enter, and then press Command V or Control V or whatever it is that you would do for an MCP server. Okay? And you need to just tab this and tab that, make sure it's aligned, and then you want to put a comma over there. All right. Now, you notice how there's a lot of red errors? It's just because that there's an extra pair of curly braces. So all you need to do is get rid of those and put a comma here. Okay. So now you have this. And now you notice how it says here absolute path to downloads mcp server.py. We actually need to replace this with the real path, right? The real path name. So to do that, here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna go back to Claude. You're gonna find the downloads. You're gonna find the Python file that it's given you. You press this and you press download. All right, and then save. Now I'm gonna go to my desktop here. I'm gonna make a new folder, and I'm gonna go into Finder. I'm gonna go to desktop. I'll make a new folder. We'll call this downloads access MCP. All right, I'll press enter there. Now I'm gonna go to downloads. I'm looking for this. It's called downloads mcp server.py, and I'm gonna move it into that file. Now if I click on that file, I get this. Now I can go to get info, and then you just right click here and press copy as path name. Now go back to where you had this, paste it. So this is your path name, okay? Now you want to paste it here in between the curly braces. Now notice how this says Python 3, right? You need to know that if you get an error, you switch it back to just Python, okay? And if yours is just Python and you get an error, add the 3. Okay. Now I'm gonna save this. All right, I go back to Claude, and you can see now if I go to settings and I go to developer, I still don't have that downloads thing here. That means that if I open a new chat and I say what's in my downloads folder, sorry, and I ask it this, it's gonna try and get my downloads folder, right? Because it says I can only see what's in the sandboxed environment. I don't have direct access to your local computer's download folder. I can check your download folder. So there's a bunch of stuff like that. Because that MCP is not yet there. So you need to quit Claude, right? You need to quit Claude and restart it. So now once it quits, I'm going to reopen it again. Now there's an error. It will tell us there is an error. But basically, let's go to settings, developer, downloads is new, right? This one is, and it says running. So now I'm going to go back to the downloads folder question that I asked it. And I'm going to say, okay, try again, call the downloads MCP. You don't actually have to say all of this. You see, I'm going to say always allow. Would like to access your downloads folder. I'll press allow. You've got 125 items in downloads folder. Here's a quick rundown of them. Uh, Images, a bunch of screenshots, PDFs, PowerPoints, videos, apps, installers. Okay, so it's basically managed to find out what exactly is in my downloads folder. And that's because we've given it access to that. Now you can imagine the things you can do with this is you can have it run terminal commands. You can have it take action when it comes to certain things in terms of file organization or in terms of creating and managing all of the different things you have on your laptop, because that's a lot of work. If you have running a business and you have so many different files and you don't know how to deal with all of them, you can simply tell Claude to create a MCP for you to give it access to all of the documents, that it can arrange them and name them for you correctly. And then you just follow the process I just described to you. Okay, and here is where you can track all of your different MCPs. All right, you can track them all there. So that's how you give Claude access to certain tools. So I could even, for example, go here and say that, can you put all those images into a folder called images? Now, if I look at my downloads folder right now, you can see they're all very loose. But I've told Claude to take action inside this folder. So we didn't give it access. It says none of my available tools can create directly on your machine. The quickest way is to open terminal and run this. So if you actually want to see what the limitations are of the tool that you've used, you can just test it out, and you can see that here it's saying that unfortunately we can't do that. But if I open Finder and I go to where I had it, which was download access, and I give this in here, and I say, okay, um, I want you to add that ability to the MCP file. I'll add a downloads create folder tool to the MCP server file. Download create folder and download move, since you actually need both to organize, right? All right, so as you can see, it's now. And so all we'll have to do is delete the old file and import the new file. And there's nothing else that we need to do. So it says I added 2 new tools, and you can see it rewrote the entire thing from line 1, all right, all the way to the end. So now, if I go here and I download this, I put it in downloads, right? It's there. I'll go here, I'll remove this one, and I'll drop this new one in here. All right, so this is the new one which contains this ability. So now, if I go here and I quit Claude again, I reopen it, I go check my MCP servers, downloads is running, and I go here and it says just replace your current MCP with this one and restart the server. So we just did that. Okay, done. Now I'll open downloads again. Always allow. As you can see, the folder just appeared, and now it's going to move all my images in to the images folder, right? And it's like, well, you only have to ever do this once. You don't have to do it again. So once you've done it once, now Claude has access to those tools. Now it can access them. Now there's no problem. It can call the tools whenever you tell it to call the tools. Right? So it can always call them whenever you ask it to call them, and you don't necessarily have to like recreate it. You can only, oh look, it's populating it. So you see there's now 6 items in that folder. So if you see, this folder is growing with images. So you see this folder is growing. Now 11. So Claude is organizing my downloads folder, right? It's putting all of the images into an images folder because there was about, like, I don't know, there were many images in that folder, and now it's going ahead and it's doing it. So it says 70 items and it's on number 15 so far. So anyways, that's the idea behind this video. It's about, you can create different tools and give it access to do different things so that your life can become a lot easier. Anyways, get creative with it, see what you can do, and I'll see you in the next one.